Hello, good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. We are back again on another edition of your favorite morning program here on the QTV channel. Wherever you're watching us, welcome to this program. I hope you are doing very good for us. We are okay. And host of this program, the co-host of this program rather, is Jacqueline Coley. Jacqueline, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Balde. Good morning to our cherished viewers. Thank you very much for tuning in again this morning to enjoy this very wonderful program called This Morning on QTV. Hopefully, we're going to give you what you need with regards to information, of course. The African proverb. Balde said we have a tricky one today, so let's see. We also have a guest in the studio as well, Said Mati Jao, who is the Executive Director for the Center for Research and Policy Development. He's going to be helping us review the newspapers, and of course, we're going to be talking about some of the works he has been doing over the years at the Center for Research and Policy Development.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Said Mati, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Balde. I'm good.
It's good to have you here, man.
Yeah, I miss you guys.
Yes,
to some extent,
it's been a while. You know,
Yeah,
it's good to
definitely.
catch up again.
Yeah.
Yes. So on the program, we'll take a look at the African code. From the code, then we'll be doing the newspaper review with Said Mati Jao, and Buba Baji from NAWEC will be here, and we'll be talking about the rural electrification project, and of course, many things surrounding both water and electricity. Yesterday I was at Bundung, and surprisingly the women of Bundung saw me, and they were like, Balde, we don't have water in Bundung. You understand? And I was like, okay, what's your problem? They said water. I said, tomorrow NAWEC is coming, I'll put it to them.
Okay.
You know, so we'll also be talking to Usman Jata. He's with the Meet the People tour, and they are currently in the Greater Banjul area.
Oh.
Yes, they've reached here. Yesterday I met up with the convoy of the president around Lamen coming from up country.
Okay.
Yeah, so 16 days of activism. We'll be talking to Isa Balde and our Blink. They'll also be here. As you know, it's set aside, to advocate for women, gender, you know, children's right. This is the month. So they will be taking us through, and Gambia's preparation in tackling gender-based violence as well. Yes. So let's start with the code, Jacqueline.
Right. And today's code reads, until the lion gets their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. Until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. And I would really love to hear first from our guests.
Let's hear from Said Mati.
Right.
At least, yeah, for us to get an insight.
Well, I remember this code. I think when we were doing our Masters in African History, one of our lecturers really liked to share that with us. And basically is like, for me, the way I understand it is, you know, you telling your own story.
Right.
You know. And I think in a nutshell, that's what basically is about. And people will come and claim their own story. I have done this, I have done that. And, you know, but the other one that they reportedly have done that too is nowhere to be seen.
Exactly.
So it's basically like this is also a clear case of one-sided story. And yeah, but for me, basically, I think that's what it is.
In fact, is it not the attitude of human being, to just talk, to narrate the part of the story that favors you?
Oh, yeah. That's why they call it history. Like, for instance, if you look at history, it's your story. It's your own personal story. That's why you have to be able to narrate it. But then if there are other people that are there that witness it, and that's why also you always see you know, people saying this and others coming to say different stuff.
Right.
But this is about you telling, you know, Sabubi football in a nutshell.
Right. In another view, I think I wanted to understand this better, so I seek reference on Safari. And according to what I have here, it says this proverb underscores the importance of perspective in storytelling and history. It suggests that history is often written by those in power, and as a result, their narrative dominates until the oppressed or overlooked that in quote, the lions have the opportunity to tell their stories. the accounts will always favor those who hold the pen, and that is the hunters. It calls for inclusivity and balance, reminding us to seek out and value diverse voices to truly understand history's full picture. See?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because because usually we say you can tell history from two sides. You can tell it from the dominant side and also from the from those that are at what they call the people-centered.
Right, the oppressed, in another word.
Because in history also some things are important, others are not important. But who is the one that is creating certain things to be important and others not to be important? For instance, how is that our history, to an extent, our oral history? When you talk about our oral history, people say, oh, that is oral history, it could be changed. But orality has been the mechanism through which we've been, sharing stories and all that. So now people prefer what is written. You can write something that is not true, but you can say something that is true. But still, because of the difference, people will prefer one over the other. But basically, that's what I get.
Right. People do prefer the written history because, like they say, oral history is passed from one generation to another. And as it goes, that's how the story sometimes changes. That is why people prefer the written version than the oral.
Yeah, because it's also part of the narratives. That, what is also the broader narratives, or what is African is lesser important. Because oral history is history.
Right.
There were specific groups within our society that were given that responsibility to hand over history, do those kind of jobs. But then when people started writing, you can write something that is not true, that's not factual. You document it as the history. But also you can write things that is more expansive. I'm not saying that they are all different forms, which are all very important. And like, for instance, I usually take these travels of Mungo Park in the interior of Africa. It is a written documentary, but sometimes the way he narrates certain things, I know he is pointing to things that are real to our culture, but the way he presents it and all that, and even the analysis that they bring in.
You can see a contradiction.
You can see the contradictions to a certain extent, but you can see also sometimes the individual's own orientation. Like you come from Europe, you see Africans, so everything bad, and those kind of mentality.
So let's, as we are talking about history, let's talk about the roots written by Alex Haley. I watch some of his movies as well. You can sometimes there are certain things that you tend to think, okay, how did they know this happened during Kunta Kinte's era? Some of those things I think they're exaggerated at some point. Although it will connect you back to your roots, but at some point you realize this is too good to be true.
Yeah, I mean, it's also perspective, like we were saying, this narrative, like Alex is not from here. For me also, I have many questions and all that stuff, but what it presented was that there was slavery was real. And everything else that comes within it. But it's also about you also going back to your own roots, trying to because for me that was the whole entire story. Him trying to understand where he came from, and through that process he did his research, and that's why I said there are different sources of history. You can even music is a source of history. So those are things that you put together, and then you create a whole story, but it becomes his own personal journey of roots. Might not necessarily be reflective of it, but then the whole idea of slavery, one person trying to connect back to its own roots, it was very evicted. And for me, sometimes it is about that rather than the details.
Exactly.
That this one did that, and those are things that usually people can have different opinion on.
Well, interestingly, when you look at the transition of history from one generation to another, at some point, the written history summarize it all, because you will see there are certain narrations from this individual to a different individual tend to be a little bit different.
I mean, I give you example. Today, one story, newspapers have different perspective, have different orientation. It's because of the editorial. It's not just that the story is different, but it's like the perspective that each person comes with it. And so in that way, your biases, because individuals are naturally biased,
absolutely,
and your biases, your positioning and everything, whether you support or oppose, those things count. And so history is not just like a plain event that happened. It's about how we put it together. And I give example here, like within our families, they don't write things to tell us, okay, this is what you need to write, but they keep telling us the values within the family, the social, what the family means, where it stands, and all those different stuff. Those are part of the oral, and that's our cultural way of doing this. So that is not lesser important as something that is written. So it is about how do we understand this issue. And for you tomorrow, we heard a lot about our family stories, and some of us are writing it, whether in Arabic or in English. We are now documenting it because we want more people to read it. We want it to last longer, but that doesn't mean that the oral narrations are any lesser important.
True.
Right.
Yeah, so let's proceed, Jacqueline. I mean, I assume you have the papers with you?
Right, I have the papers, and let's take a look at the story where the FPAC is recommending that cuts is on the standard, the FPAC recommends that there is cuts in allocation for OP and others. I think OP means Office of the President. Yes, and they're saying there should be cuts in allocations for OP, that being maybe the national budget.
Yeah.
What do you make of that, Mr. Zhao?
Yeah, I saw the report of I think they are making a total cut of around 416 million.
Yeah, 416 million.
As part of the cuts. And people also, I mean, that is what is expected. So right now, I think the National Assembly is focusing on the budget, and there's been that budget bilateral.
Right.
And so, of course, when a budget is presented, it is expected that there must be cuts to it. And that is the duty of the National Assembly, to see what has been proposed to them and to see what makes sense, whether we can afford it or not. And so it's a welcome development. I don't know what they cut, but I guess 5.2 billion is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And of course, with that, if entire budget was approved, then it means also it has to come from us, because our budget largely based on tax. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cutting down the budget is very significant. Like you said, it will save the country. As you know, a country that is known for gaining its revenue through tax paying. I mean, obviously, there should be definitely a meticulous. So I mean, cutting down sometimes. But I mean, knowing what they cut, like you said, that's the most important thing as well. And also, which budget are they approving for certain things as well? Because at some point previously we've seen certain things are approved, and I mean those things at some point they do not make any sense. So
I mean, so for usually we say that the budget is the second most important document after the Constitution and all that, because actually that's where the real politics is about, is the resources of the state, what we all share, what we all belong. And the role of government is to look at that and project and say, next year this is what we're going to earn, so therefore this is what we want to spend, and spend it, one, to run government, but spend it also to bring development also to the people. And so for me, I think at some point it's important, for us to have, and right now we have with the National Development Plan, and I think the budgeting is being aligned to those kind of issues. But of course, you need to look at what your priority areas are. For me, I want to see greater investment. Like as a citizen, I have my preferences in terms of where most of the monies of the budget should go to, and others have their different preferences. And this is also based on our understanding of where real development is. For me, I want to see more investment in agriculture, not just talking stake investment, but real investment that generates the food self-sufficiency that we talked about. And I think if you look at agriculture, which constitutes almost 43% of the labor force, it is important that almost half of the population are in agriculture. So why are we not investing intensively in that area? For me, those things I want to see. I want to see also investment in governance, because if our institutions are not functional, because sometimes I look at the other time, the judiciary budget, people started talking about that, but those are governance issues, and those are the areas where I deal with, and that's why I'm talking about my biases, because eventually people will need this governance institution if they're not able to deliver service, and people start complaining, but they're not also looking at what kind of investments have been made in those kind of institutions, which I think are also critical. I saw that there was a whole budget line of entertainment. I hope they cut comes from there, I think from Office of the President.
Right.
But I also saw that the amount of money that was allocated, maybe that has been also adjusted. I haven't seen that side on education and scholarship. People, there are a lot of students that need scholarship.
Right.
You know, people are going to school, they're going to university. Now it's a generation of where education is becoming, you know, like the go-to thing for a lot of young people.
Right.
And most people come from very humble backgrounds.
Right.
And the national budget should be part of that. So how do we support this? How do we invest in education? How do we invest in healthcare? Things that can also get to the people, because the vehicles that you buy and all those things, it's the people in government that enjoys the salaries. But what comes to the people also needs to be factored. Which,
Absolutely.
Yeah, which goes to the development.
Yes, on a different paper, they were talking about the increment of, you know, the salaries of the civil servants.
Right.
You
On
know,
70% rise.
70%
For
rise.
those in grade 1 to 3.
Yeah. I think for me, I like this kind of increase, because the other time I was somewhere and I was criticizing this 30%, because when you do 30%, and it's good that the Minister of Information came out to clarify that the political class are not part of it, because if they receive more salary, if you increase, you know, what you're increasing for them is like a director's salary or something.
Right.
But if you, you know, strategically do your increment, like those between grade 1 to 3, you say 70%. So that, because what we need to look at is, what is the standard
Minimum.
of living?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
at the every month, what is like the cost of living, basically? You know, how much should it cost you to live like a human being, dignified, in a within
the whole
a
month?
Yeah, in a whole month, because of course you get paid per month, and then you try to base the salary, like the basic minimum should be based on that, but also increasing for grade 1 70% and the others 30%. That's also manageable in a way that you're also closing the income gap. You know, but because if you increase for him 30%, he get more money. The cost of living outside is the same. The price of bread is the same.
Exactly.
It's all the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you need to balance that so that you can help certain people to move further to the income, you know, closing the income gap. Otherwise, I'm not an economist, but for me as a layman, I think this makes more sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense, because you cannot say, okay, we're going to increase the salary this year, and then me that is earning 2.5, you increase 30%, and the other that is earning 15,000, you increase 30%. So where's the balance?
Yeah, there's no balance. So you know, there will be increment for you,
right?
But the increment would be maybe to pass. But again, every increment means something to the workers, because you know that is what, you know, work should come with dignity, and I think for me it should start with government, and that's why sometimes I think that the whole environment thing, you know, around payment, labor, all these things need to be change, so that we can start earning things, but also not to just rely on taxation and donors and debts.
Right, as a means.
But natural resources, we have natural resources, even though not much, but how can you exploit your fish, your other sectors? That's how you do business with it.
Sense.
Exactly. Recently we've seen a lot of reports coming from the University of the Gambia in connection with staff that are sacked or something, the likes of Aliu Jiba and another lecturer. So UTG staff threatened to strike over dismissed lecturer's case. Sir Mari, I hope you are not part of it.
Well, I mean, I'm just hearing it on the news. I'm part of UTG, but I'm mostly also outside.
Okay, so the staff are threatening to for another sit-down strike. I
mean, I think for me, this particular issue, the UTG, you know, you're academics. We're academics. I'm sitting here. I criticize government. I criticize everybody. You want to say me, academics cannot criticize their own institution? I mean, I think for me, that should be part of our work, because at some point, you know, that's what we are doing. Academic freedom. So I cannot just come out and expect me to talk about politics generally when I don't talk about the politics at the university.
Right.
And if there are staff that are very much interested in the politics of the university and they want to see better university, I always say that it is better for the administration and the staff to sit together and talk, because they are both interested in the institution.
Right.
And so sometimes, you know, doing this doesn't speak well of a university of higher learning, just firing staff because, I mean, they're critical. For me, that's how I see it, and I don't think that is fair. That is fair.
So
we've also seen that they did an investigation, and it was found that whatever critics he made were unfounded.
Yeah, rectify it. Say that it's not like his speech.
So you think it doesn't warrant his dismissal?
I mean, I don't like just criticizing, then everybody can dismiss me as well. If people are just speaking about their opinion, then they get fired.
But the claim was it kind of damaged the reputation of the UTG.
Then what I do damages the reputation of the country. So therefore the country should fire me or sack me. I mean, it might be so wild, comparison. But the issue is academics, they have what we call academic freedom, because what they're sharing is also knowledge. And in that way, there might be politics within the university. There is politics every university, and that is part of it. And so, but you have to manage it, not to come and just fire people just because of the criticism. For me, I see it as more of criticism. If a criticism damages you, fix it. What is the other issue? But I think as academics, there is a different way. We should use a different approach to settling our disputes, rather than using power to control each other, and thinking that firing people will shut the people, because people will see it as not fair. For me, I'm just hearing that they want to do protests and all that stuff, but honestly speaking,
they're threatening to
I
protest.
thought we shouldn't get to this point.
Well, I think it's important for us to focus on things that are more important.
Right. So let's see one story on the point, Mr. Balde. Janaba Jai urges collective responsibility for a cleaner nation. And I think I like talking about this all the time.
For a cleaner nation.
Right. When it comes to cleanliness, I think we Gambians, we don't have discipline on that aspect. You say, okay, it is the duty of KMC to clean the street and to collect garbage. It is the duty of BAC to collect garbages and clean our streets. It's also your responsibility to live in a cleaner environment, because it affects your health if you're not living in a cleaner and healthier environment. So I think cleanliness in the country is everyone's collective responsibility. You see, in our neighborhoods, people send fancy and then sewage water is coming outside, and that's not discipline. That's not healthy, and it's very, very common. People throwing dump outside
everywhere.
It's definitely not encouraging, and I think definitely it's a call for all of us to be responsible when it comes to our environment. I mean, we should do better.
Well, I think you not have said it better than responsibility. I mean, let's take our responsibility, but that is it. The attitude and that discipline is lacking.
No, since after independence, it seems like we just forgot that nation building starts from the family, from the family, community, before you even talk about government. Because, you expect government or even the councils to come everywhere and start cleaning for you, cleaning after you and all those different stuff. I mean, I think that's also part of the attitude. But I think in the olden days, there used to be what they call Bodafel. Maybe those are the things that we need to start introducing. And like me, I always say that the way to discipline a society is also targeting their... I mean, I don't want government to be charging everything, but to certain discipline, it has to come from the pocket. Like, those throwing stuff, why not recruit certain people to be everywhere? When they see those kind of stuff, they charge people. Like when people are building houses, do we go to fire service? Do we look at issue of safety? Do we look at issue of health? Those are things that, we need to start bringing those structures and where people live also, because we usually forget about the issue of dignity, that human beings are dignified beings, but for ourselves, among ourselves, we don't...
There was a day I was driving, around my vicinity, and there is an empty land. I think the whole area dumped there.
Empty lands are
so
the ones that they target.
I don't even know the owner of the land, but I felt bad for him, because I know before he starts his construction, he needs to do a very heavy cleaning.
Right.
But also they put in it, I'm sure that those ones that are dumping it there, they live around the same neighborhood.
That's
so like you think like you're doing it to somebody else. It's an empty land, but the health-wise, the health consequences is also coming back to you.
Right.
So like sometimes people are rational. How do you use your mind to make certain decisions? But also the bigger problem is waste management, and this is a question that should be addressed by both local government and also the central government collectively, because I think that's what also the collective responsibility comes to. Because otherwise people might have all the waste. People generate waste. You generate how many kilos of waste every day, and so those things need to be managed. And how do we manage that? I think is the broader question that we also need to talk about. And this is also where the responsibility of the duty bearers comes in place.
Right.
Yeah. So, Sir Matijau, thank you very much for reviewing the stories with us. We appreciate the time you spent here.
All right.
And, hope to catch up again another
anytime.
time. Yes.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jacqueline?
Thank you very much.
Yes. At this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program continues. We'll be back.
Ni nuldugol mbudi mi yetoma joni ida wawi nuldude mbudi iwra ko Gambia do yaha Senegal e Q-Money wallet ma on e ko hon wonda e fadde mi yetoma uduto Q-Money account ma on joni fuddoda nuldude mbudi e teribe ma e wadon ka Orange Money nder Senegal fi hebugol hen ko laabi ida wawi nuldude Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe dum no yadi e sartaji Q-Money aning Orange Money ye bulodi nyola pour ka kodi kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan aning Q-Money wallet ika mune batu imuna fan Q-Money account wala sign pour kadati ka kodoki iterimal anila dimbayal kana aning Orange Money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q-Money customer care commandi 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe nying sartolle bala Q-Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q-Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q-Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xariteeg sa mbokka yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun ngaa call Q-Money customer care si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Did you know you can buy cash power using Q-Money wallet absolutely free up to 30,000 $. Use our app or dial 323# and select Q Power. Choose Register Meter. Enter your meter number. Dial *323# and follow these simple steps. Number 1, select option 3 for Q Power. Number 2, choose option 1 to buy any amount of Q Power. Enjoy free QCell airtime every time you cash in to purchase Q Power. For any inquiries, call 133. Q-Money, Sunyu Kalbe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really.
Yes, we are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Obalde, and co-host of this program is Jacqueline Coley. Jacqueline, now we have Buba Baji from NAWEC, Communications Officer. And, we said it's important for us to engage him here. And we understand NAWEC, the country cannot go without NAWEC. You understand?
Right
so when you talk about President Adama Barrow, you talk about NAWEC.
All right.
NAWEC is the biggest entity in this country.
Because they handle
water and electricity.
Right, they are the basic necessities of life.
Absolutely.
Water.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's good to have you here, Buba. Yes, he's always willing to be on this program.
Right.
Always willing. When you call him last minute, he'll tell you, I'll come.
Partners.
This is what we want. People that will not be hiding from anything. But they will come and at least outline what they are doing. Yeah, so it's important for us to start with the rural electrification. Recently we heard informations that there are communities in the rural area, they have reduced the levy for, payment of cash power meter. So please, can you take us through that?
Thank you very much. And then, good morning to all the listeners out there. And then because I know 90% of your listeners are our valued customers.
Right.
Because everybody in this country, you are now a customer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then good morning to my mom, Koli.
Oh, Koli,
Yes,
nice,
my mom
nice,
is Koli.
nice,
So today
nice.
I'm happy. At least somebody is going to
Mommy is
goodbye.
around.
My mom is around.
Right.
Yes, coming back to as we said, for the rural electrification, yes, you know, if you say the rural electrification, it includes even West Coast. So we would say part of West Coast, in fact, from Galoya here, behind Mandinaring. If you know Galoya, going to around Chembuji, all those people have benefited. Yes, we have reduced the meter cost from the initial $8,500 to $500.
Okay.
But when this announcement was said, you know, many people are like me and Balde. They don't read. They only look at the 500.
Yes.
And all jump from the on their comfort zones to come over to apply. But honestly, this is just for the project affected areas.
Okay.
Yes. When we said these are the people that the bank and the government of the Gambia have given that reduction. And this is only for the project. After the project, we are going back to that normal 8,005. And if you want it here, in Serekunda, you will pay 8,005 because you are not under the project. It have happened sometime. There was one of the projects that came with a meter 4,000. That project is also phased out.
Okay.
So this is a special project. As we said, this is the one access to electricity, and also electricity to your doorstep. I think one of these programs, we've said that here, that we will we'll do electricity to there's a meaning. Even the last mile connection would be done by NAWEC and the project. So this is exactly what we are doing now, and this is where we are.
Right, you
yes,
know,
it's 500.
Communication is very key.
Yeah.
So when you wrote that, was it specified that
Yes.
only the people in the
rural
project
areas.
areas
It was
Yes.
in fact,
Yeah.
I did not only specify, but it was even bold.
Yeah, I saw it.
It
I
was
saw
bold.
it, yeah.
We bold that part
Okay.
to say, you know, that is the written part.
Yes.
And also we went on air.
Okay.
Yeah, and then had platforms like this to explain. But as I said, the fuller community out there think that it's a 500, nearby 500. So that was
500.
one of the reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Only the projects
Yes.
areas.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the likes of the Julius in
Okay.
their area
Ah, yes.
are the ones that are going to benefit from that.
Okay. Okay.
You know, in fact, you can even be in Basse, let's say, in Basse, but you are not affected by this project. You will not be
You
part
will
of
not
that.
be able to.
And in fact, we have already done the survey. The survey have been done, and we know who and who is going to have. That is almost
So
done.
how do you determine, okay, these people are affected by this project? And how does the project affect you?
Very good. Because you see, there are areas, 80% of the project, most of it is people without electricity. The other chunk, this is a rough estimate. I didn't have the figures correctly.
Okay.
But I can tell you maybe the 20 to 21% or whatever are people at extension. Let me take an example of Fonyi Block today. In Block, there was electricity. But a lot of people have, you know, come and have this Sanja thing. Now, what is happening there is that those extensions are done. Those who are now extended, those who are affected by that, we know, because before we even put the poles, the survey have been done. We know how many compounds, and we know each compound, how many households are there. This household also, let me explain, it brings a lot of confusion. If you take it in the local language, we will say per household. In our domain, we'll say borom os, sinkritio. You understand? So you can be in a compound, but this is 1 sinkiro, so it's 1 meter. You know, so I think this is something that is very important. You will find out that you will go to one big fuller compound where you'll have 9 houses, and each house, each 9 men there, each man have 4 wives. You cannot give all those people in meters. It's not fair.
Yes.
So, but what we are saying is each household is entitled to a meter.
To a meter.
Yes. And we will bring the meter, fix the meter before you even pay your money. We are going to bring you the service pole, erect it in your compound.
Okay.
I don't mean the service pole, and we'll bring the meter and attach it to your wall. But we will not energize it until if you go and pay the 500, then we energize it for you.
Wow,
so you see how easy and how...
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
Wow,
So
exactly. That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Right, it is. And it will even boast them to even go pay and on time in order to, you know, get the electricity.
But I'm just wondering, with this on and off that we are having recently, you know,
that we even have on the screen.
Are we going to be able to cater for all this?
Yes. Thank you very much. This on and off, it's affecting not only customers. I think it affects NAWEC most, because for us, anytime it's off, when it's coming on, it's very costly.
Oh, okay.
Yes, very, very, very costly. The moment it is flowing, it's very good for us. But the moment it goes and come back, that's a damage. But if you even look at recently, you will see some of our, and even today, maybe in the next 1 hour, if I leave here, you will see another announcement. We are now completing many jobs.
Okay.
And then there is this announcement which have been running on QTV itself and other national televisions. You will find out that what delayed us to reduce significantly this on and off is the right of way to complete that connection, that 225 line under the JAM project, the World Bank JAM project, which is now ongoing.
Okay.
And then the connections are ongoing, and we expect the contract to, in a couple of months, 1 or 2 months, it should be ready. And then we will see a drastic change in these power cuts. Because the problem is evacuation of power from Brikama to Jabang. That was a problem. And then now we have got that synchronizing happening. Immediately that is done, it will be, we'll have a drastic, it will be reduced. The on and offs will be very reduced. So coming to your question, this on and off, it will going to be history.
Okay.
Not like, let me be specific. When I say it's going to be history, doesn't mean we will not have off at all, but it will be very, very minimal. Like what is happening in the provinces, they do go off, but very minimal. Sometimes just few minutes or, those can happen in the line. So it's the same thing that we are expecting in the GBA. Yeah.
Yes.
So when it comes to water, I've seen so much videos online that people will open their taps and the water is dirty. The color changes, brown, blue. What's the cause of that?
Thank you very much. Mommy, that's why you are my mom. I love that question because that's a very, very false information going around.
Oh, it's false?
See, yes, because we track them. I got about 3 videos. We track and got the source, and then we follow it. It is personal borehole. You see, people don't differentiate these things. Your personal borehole, if you have any problem, it's not NAWEC's responsibility. If I dig my borehole in my house and I have a problem, that's my problem. But the water that we are supplying from our boreholes to our treatment plants, and from the treatment plants to the distribution tanks, then to the customers, is clean.
Okay.
This is being tested frequently by both Pura and water resources. We are not only like at our only level, but even the regulator is doing those tests. But I can tell you that that's not our water.
So you're saying, okay, that's not your water. It's the boreholes that they're drilling.
Privately owned boreholes.
Okay.
We are saying whoever take from your tap, please come to any of our centers and bring that water, and we will definitely take it for test.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the issue here is that the boreholes in our houses that NAWEC is not supplying, that is being affected. But on social media, I've seen videos where they're accusing NAWEC
I've seen it as well.
of,
Oh.
yes.
Okay.
They're accusing NAWEC instead. That the water,
Instead of
that is the water coming from NAWEC that is dirty.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Look at that.
Right.
I saw one. You look at the water, it's black as you have put charcoal on
Others
it.
are very
was
blue,
wondering.
others are brown,
Exactly.
looking like water from mud. Like that is what it is.
You visit our treatment center, you see the way we treat water until where it reaches. You don't even have access to a reservoir. Even the staff don't have access inside the reservoir. So where would you have that?
Yeah, definitely. So Bansang people also drink yellow water. What are we going to do with that?
Bansang is a special case.
Okay.
If we want to explain Bansang here, it might take the whole program. And then the newly appointed MD is an expert when it comes to water. That is his expatriate.
Okay.
And then he know the history of Bansang. And then a lot of jobs have been done. NAWEC have done a lot in Bansang and will continue to do until we win. Presently, we have already got funding from the World Bank to the JAM project. We will be digging a very, very shallow borehole, because initially our boreholes, the deeper we go, it's not that much. But for Bansang, we are going as far as we can get the best water.
Okay.
We have even gone out of Bansang up to Bantanto, if you know Bantanto, after the the school.
Yes.
Bantanto.
Yeah.
So we dug a borehole. After 1 year, it started bringing. So we dug another one.
Oh.
This is the one supplying them now.
Okay.
So all that is geared to make sure that we run. And then in fact, you see the Bansang case, that water you see it sometimes colored is very good. But because under the eyes of a layman, will say, no, I will not drink this water.
Okay.
Yes.
But it can be
yeah,
drinkable.
it can be used.
Okay.
It can be used.
Yeah, so what about the people of Bundung?
Right, I was going to ask. Because over the decades, QTV has reported this story
a million times.
Other radio stations, other TV stations
Yes,
as well.
Bundung.
Over the decades, people of Bundung have been complaining that they don't have running water during the day. Or sometimes it doesn't even come. And
Bundung
at the end
is
of the
connected
month,
to Latrikunda
right,
as well. Yeah.
And at the end of the month, Narek would bring them bills that are, to them, they call it outrageous. Like the bills are expensive and they don't even have running water. Others say they have, but it comes around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. at night.
Thank you.
What is the problem here?
Thank you, Mom. I might not be a resident of Bundung, but I think I am partly from, and then I'm saying this on record on TV.
Okay.
The Honorable, the MP, Honorable
Suleiman Jammeh, yes.
I take this opportunity to thank him
very hard-working man.
Because sometimes we are with him up to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night with him in the field to make sure the people of Bundung get water.
Okay.
I've gone to Bundung. I've had Bandaba meetings with the women of Bundung. They came out with their buckets. We had a meeting. And then we took up initiatives that now they appreciate and understand. The unfortunate part of everything, we went and secured a land somewhere in Nema, dig a borehole.
The vandalism?
They just to lay the last mile, just like 2 days to connect Bundung so that Bundung will have adequate water and the surroundings of Bundung. When I say this, my heart is very full.
Yeah, I know.
I feel very bad.
They're vandalized.
I'm disappointed. People went in there in the night to vandalize that borehole. Even the line that bring electricity, they cut it off.
You see?
They butchered put out blocks away. The corrugate. I don't know how to explain this.
So did you do an investigation and what did you find?
No, in fact, the residents claim that they heard the noise and they were after them, but they couldn't get them. So we went, the best we can do is to get to the police, because this is the only way we can get them. And the police are doing everything humanly possible. That very morning, even the MP and some of the Bundung, some elders in Bundung came over to see and sympathize with us. But that very moment, then my MD was even in the provinces, called and said, look, the people that vandalize is their problem. We will go up to the investigation. Put everything back and then don't miss the date of connecting Bundu. That is this week.
Okay.
And that's what we are doing.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So to tell you, we have taken major steps. But this is one of the things, some of the issues that are also retarding. This, destroying that property, you are not destroying Nawek. You are destroying yourself.
But what was the main problem for the lack of water in Bundung? What was the main problem?
You know, that is, okay, going back to a little history, you know, Bundung, you remember there is a popular borehole called Borehole 9.
Borehole, yeah.
A borehole is there. They call it Bundung Borehole.
Right.
It's called Borehole 9.
Okay.
Thank God that time I was at Water Division. And then the women did not have a place to sell. The borehole had an issue. Before we repaired the borehole, the interim, they cannibalized and used the borehole as a market. So there was a lot of back and forth, but that was no possibility. I remember the former regime did everything, you know, the late Mayor, Young Bakweli and others tried to come and say, look, you need to move and allow them this. They refused. But then they were having water at the time because the population was not that
much.
So as they grow, and then as the population grow, the water scarcity started to come in gradually. So they decided, the Bundunga people, and gave us a land before the police, if you know the Bundung borehole police, on the left, around the garage. So we dug a borehole. It served for less than a month. Because of human interference, you know, the borehole was not fit for consumption, so we condemned it. We dug another one at our own cost. If you are going out to Latrikunda, the same problem happened. So we could not do anything but to divert other boreholes that were supplied in Serekunda, and which was not enough. But they will be getting water intermittently. So this was what was happening until it is compound to where we are today, in short. But as I said, now we have two boreholes that are specifically coming into Bundung and the surroundings. That is the recent borehole been vandalized, called Borehole 19. And one borehole called 11 is also dedicated to now come into Bundung, and that will take care of. Because the problem is between the mosque area going into the 6 Johnson. They have two types of 6 Johnson, not the one at this Bundung Churchistown.
Right. I know that. I know.
You understand the one I'm
The
talking
one at
here?
Nusrat.
Yes, the one at Nusrat. Thank you.
Right.
That means those areas are the people that are suffering most.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been there. I've met their women. I think if they are watching, they will remember my face because I'm very easy. If you look at the big chicks, you know. So that's it. But honestly, for Bundung, yes, we have taken very big steps.
Okay.
And their MP
Suleiman
have been very helpful.
Yes.
Even the recent, the contractor working on the highway connecting those pipes, he will call even 10 o'clock and he say, Baji, I'm here, but I think the contractor need this.
Okay.
And our team will be there. So that man is.
Well, you see, for Suleiman,
everybody's like Suleiman.
In
Suleiman
fact, when they voted for Suleiman,
yeah.
I wasn't surprised because when he was just a councillor, I mean, I've seen the amount of work that he put in. So where he is now as the National Assembly of member of Bundu, he deserved the position. And I believe Bundung people will definitely, I mean, rip from his labor. Absolutely.
No, he is
yes.
For him, he is another person.
Yeah, so we have also another press release from NAWEC inform its esteemed customers that there will be a planned power outage on a specific day, that is Thursday 28th November 2024, time 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yes. And these are the places that are mentioned: Manjai, Kotu, layout, Palmarima, Duplex, Senegambia, Kololi, Bakote, Sanchaba, Sukuta, Bursubi Phase 2, Serekunda, London, Tipa Garden.
Yes.
Yes. So these are the, I mean, places mentioned.
I did this. I remember it is very well. And this is true. All this is due to the works I am taking because we are now connecting some of the things. Because most of these things, before you connect, you must have to switch off the line. If not, the contractors cannot work. This is the contractors doing the last mile connections. And then, as I said, at least let's see what happened by end of December. Where are we going to be when it comes to these power cuts?
All right.
Yes.
So you have a national target by 2030.
Yeah.
For how to call it, renewable energy sources.
Access to, okay.
Right. Tell us about this. And are we really hoping that by 2030 this will be done?
Yes, because already the steps we've taken are almost a very fast one. We are not working on the step by step. It's the first step. If I say the first step, if you see already we've done the 25 megawatt for solar. Yeah. We've already floated tender. I think today is the closing date by midday today because that was a tender, and then they did add the dates again to have more people to tender or more companies to tender for the 50 solar park. You know, we have this 150 solar park in Jarasoma, but it's going to be 50. So the first 50, that's the one that is being tendered. Okay. So yes, the target for 2030, yes, is very possible.
Okay. Yeah, how about the universal
access?
Right, the universal access to electricity by 2025. 2025 is next year already.
Yeah, it's next year.
Right.
Yes, next year, December. That's what I'm saying. That is why we are working very fast to make sure that all those fuller hamlets without electricity,
so that they can get.
You know that statement? It's a correct statement.
Right.
Access to electricity that by 2025. Yes, but now everybody have electricity. But for the 24 hours electricity service, that is not 2025.
Okay. When is that? 2030?
I might not have that record here.
Okay.
All right. But I am sure of one thing, that it will reduce drastically this on and offs, and then at least everybody would have electricity. In fact, you know, when we say electricity, those who never have electricity, but you can be in Bundung, you can be in Sarepate, and then you buy a land in Sarepate after November 2025. You will not have electricity, meaning you are not part of that access. So these things that are very important for people to be able to differentiate. But what we mean is at least every village will call electricity. That will happen.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah, so let us don't forget the people of Talending Bantaba. They also need water, Mr. Baje. I mean, when you are considering the people of Bundung, please send some water to Talending Bantaba.
Thank you. If in fact under the same JAM project, we have a lot of ongoing projects for boreholes, and then Talending is part of it. In fact, there was a part in Talending. Now they are getting we are getting water now because there was some upgrade that is done. And presently, if you check around the Hamadia buffer zone, you will realize some works are happening there. And then I'm sure my people of Talending Bantaba, we are the custodian, we are the alcalos. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So they are my people.
We are hopeful.
Very hopeful. And inshallah, will be there very soon.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to read a press release, the Office of the Inspector General of Police has requested that the opposition United Democratic Party, UDP, postpone its planned nationwide tour, set to begin on Thursday, November 28, 2024. The police cited the need to allocate a significant number of officers through the president's ongoing Meet the People tour, which has stretched their resources. In a letter dated November 17, 2024, the police explained that they are unable to manage additional tours at the same time and advised the UDP to reschedule its tour after the presidential tour concludes. The UDP has not yet responded to the request.
Okay.
The release ends. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Baji, and hope to catch up later on another time again. You know, keep informing us, keep talking to us. When we talk, there'll be no difference.
Right.
You see, now, Jacqueline, your mom would be able to tell people, no, now they are working, they are trying. Bundung, if you complain, no, you very soon you'll get water.
That's
Right.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And viewers will take a short break. After the break, the program is going to continue. We'll be right back.
Aning orange money ye bulo di nyola pour ka kori kio sone yandi ka bonang Gambia banko kang kata Senegal banko kang aning Q money wallet e ka mune batu e muna fan Q money account wala sign pour ka dati ka kodoki e terimal anila dimbayal kana aning orange money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q money customer care commandi 133 Q money sunyu kalpe nying sartolle bala Q Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xarit ak sa mbokk yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun ngaa call Q Money customer care si 133 Q Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Korealo neko anila Q Money wallet isa Q power sanno katafo wulitan saba andung ita fenjola. Ibe minkela ibanna Apple download la wala yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow ye register mita tombo. Fulanjao ye la mita nomba dundi. Ye star 323 has dial B ye bula sartol noma. Follow iba nomba 3 la detela puri ye kiu power soto no. Fulanjao iba nomba 1 la detela katombondirke hapola ilafta min sanna. Amanda Wola, wati ye kodo dundi pour ka kiw pawasan, kiw sel be so la free bonus lale. Ni lafta kuma ko yo moyela nyinto, kumandiro ke 133. Kiw money, sunyu kalpe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
ndax xam nga ne ak sa Q Money wallet bi mun ngaa jënda cash power te doo si fay dara mun ngaa jënda bellu tollu si $1,000 jëfandekool ak suñu app bi wala nga dial star 323 hash nga toppa sarta yi busal 3 pour jënda Q power soo paree nga tànna register meter soo paree nga dugal sa meter number bi dial star 323 hash nga toppa sarta yi busal 3 pour jënda Q power busal bena pour tànna app bi nga bëgg a jënda te it di nga bànneexul si free call bu la Qcell di may saay boo dugalee xaalis pour jënda Q power pour am si lu la leer callal 133 Q Money suñu kalpe.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. And now let's talk about the 16 days of activism, an annual international campaign aimed at raising awareness and promoting action to end gender-based violence. And we're supposed to have Isa Balde. I'm pretty sure she's on her way coming. The executive director of Paradise Foundation, and our Bling, a singer. Our Bling, it's not a new name in the Gambia music industry. When you mention her name, you definitely know she is a Gambian singer.
She's an icon.
Yes, we have her here, and she also released a song, I think, when it about gender-based violence.
Right.
Yeah. So Jacqueline.
Right. 16 days activism, like you said, is observed annually. Every year, 16 days is set aside to raise awareness on gender-based violence. And this year, the theme is towards 30 years of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. To unite to end violence against women. This is the the theme for this year. And you know the slogan as it goes: don't be a victim, break the cycle of violence, break the cycle of silence, know your rights, act against abuse, and do not look away. We have our Blin in the studio today. She's going to be talking about, you know, her platform, which she's used to advocate for, you know, women against gender-based
violence. We all understand
violence.
how powerful and important musicians are when it comes to activism. You know, their voices are heard when they talk. So it's wise enough for them to at least do such a thing, to be able to add power and their voice to the 16 days of activism.
So, yes, welcome to our studios.
Thank you so much.
How have you been?
So glad to be here. I've been good, doing good. You know.
What have you been up to?
Well, just recording songs, going to school, you know.
Okay.
I'm doing a lot at the same time.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it's been a while we heard from you, though.
Yeah.
Is it because of the school and a lot of things you mentioned?
Well, actually, yeah, it's because of the school, but, you know, I've been as well, you know, working with different organizations, releasing my songs online. Yeah, so I've been around doing my thing.
Okay, so she's making money online, huh?
Right.
Nice.
So, as someone that you're deeply connected to communities, so what are some of the most prevalent forms of gender-based violence you've observed in the Gambia, and who do you think are the most vulnerable people, since we're talking about the 16 days activism?
Yes, I mean, for me, it's, I'll say FGM, female genital mutilation, you know, the domestic violence, child marriages. Thank God, like, the ban has been maintained on FGM, but I just feel that, you know, it is still going on because, you know, there's a law and the law is not being enforced. So people will not actually take the law seriously because no one, no perpetrator has been, you know, held accountable for what they do. So the most vulnerable are women and, you know, young girls, especially young girls. Yeah,
yes, definitely.
Yes, it's important. So how do you put this in your music? How do you blend your music with advocating for gender-based violence? Yeah,
so it all started in 2017. So I was invited for a 2-day training by an organization called Think Young Women. So for this training, we were trained on female genital mutilation, and, you know, we got the opportunity to see the different types of, you know, female genital mutilation and how harmful it is on, you know, women and young girls. So through that training, you know, I just looked at myself and say that, you know, you have a powerful tool, and that is your music. So I'm like, because in most cases, women and young girls are the most vulnerable. Right. So I'm like, now I'll just use my music to talk about, you know, sexual and gender-based violence.
Yes, at this point we have Isa Balde, the executive director of Paradise Foundation. Isa, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's good to have you here. I mean, talk about the 16 days of activism.
Exactly.
This is set aside, to raise awareness, campaigns against gender-based violence.
Right.
Please take us through, what does this mean to you?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. And you too, Ewa. Sorry for being late, as usual. Trying to get ready.
Right.
As you know, every year we come here to talk about the 16 days of activism. And again, it was to raise awareness. But this year, the theme is from awareness to action. We have been raising awareness for many years. From civil society organizations to government, donor, our partners, all the stakeholders, the whole world, globe, have been raising awareness. The theme this year is from awareness to action. And what that means is that we are advocating for people now. They know what are they going to do about it. Because now we have to work towards ending gender-based violence. Firstly, I think a good start should be the FGM campaign, which our mentioned earlier. It has raised a lot of awareness. The FGM law, the aim to uplift the law, has actually raised more awareness, has helped us actually enlighten the public as to what is FGM and what the law says. So people now are aware of the law. But are they reporting cases? Is FGM still going on? Yes. We still have cases of FGM in the communities, and we really need to step up our work, both civil society, government, and the public. Communities have to be vigilant and report cases as well. So as part of the 16 days activism, the world, UN Women has set aside that 16 days so that we amplify our voices. But the advocacy is ongoing because we don't stop. It's our main focus. So we all have put our efforts together, from the musicians to civil society organization, government. You say on, was it Tuesday or Monday, the Ministry of Gender has actually launched a campaign in Brikama, and we have seen the post from the Ministry of Health, and we have seen other civil society organizations pushing messages on social media, as well as conducting outreaches to the community to remind them of the importance of these 16 days, and also the crucial, the significance of ending gender-based violence. We all know that it's affecting our lives.
Right. Yeah. So tell us about the work of your foundation and how it aims to stand for women, especially in these 16 days, in this next 16 days that you're using to advocate and raise awareness. Like you said, the team from awareness to action.
Right. I'm from Paradise Foundation, and we have been in existence since 2018, and our main focus is movement empowerment and gender-based violence. It's our core work, so it's not only the 16 days, we've been doing that every day. And what we launched the first gender-based violence helpline. We also have a group of Bajans in the community. In each region we have Bajans, and the Bajans' role is to create awareness as well as provide psychosocial support to survivors or victims. Victims have somewhere to go for advice, and also sometimes for referral, because if some of the cases are beyond them, they refer to the nearest police or health facility, or for further psychosocial assessment to a trained psychologist. But their main role has been also mediating in family affairs, family violence or even marital issues. So definitely this is an ongoing fight, and we aim to support communities not only aware but take action to end the gender-based violence.
Okay, we talk about some of these women that are victims of gender-based violence.
Right.
Sometimes they want to come out to talk. Sometimes they even come out to talk, but at a certain extent, those of you that are providing help to them or assistant, they will come back and say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to seek help anymore. It's because of the stigma, and people that will say, okay, you're so private life, and stuff. How do you handle situations like these?
Actually, that's the biggest challenge we have. We have to understand the context we live in. you know, the cultural dominance. Sometimes we use religion, like the FGM case. It was religion to actually make sure that people don't talk about it. Because, you know, no one wants to interfere with their own religion. So once they use religion, you don't want to ask questions, you don't want to talk about it openly. And culture too is very strong.
Right.
Because we all belong somewhere. And nobody wants to be pushed out of your community. So they rather keep quiet. But is that helping us? We're breeding a generation of women who are traumatic and psychotic, sometimes, you know, can have mental health issues. And also, depression.
Right.
But you rightly said, most women don't want to report. Or when they report halfway, they change their mind. Again, it's because of societal pressure.
Right.
Family pressure. Yange ruslo wa kër gi xam nga ñepp xamal la sa soxla.
Right.
And you know, in our Gambian context, especially a married woman, if your child is raped, it's like do amati jëkkër. Or they will tell you yo yaay ya bon. So it's internalized. They in turn, and the perpetrator is celebrated. They don't even say anything to the perpetrator. And usually we've seen that perpetrators are someone close to the family. It could be an uncle, the breadwinner, or it could be the father.
Right.
And what happens if that person goes to jail? So the mother rather keeps quiet if it's rape. If it is domestic violence, if your husband is beating you, they were like, Hana yo rekla, li daf di dara, muñ ko, sutural sa bopa. But no one has to be beaten.
Right.
No one has to be beaten. And that's why we're giving courage to the women to open up and say no to domestic violence. Because if you don't put a stop to it, you might get killed. And we've seen in the rest of the world how many women were beaten to death. It was last year this time that a woman was cut with an cutlass by the husband in Brikama. We dealt with that case. She cannot walk now.
Wow.
She's still in pain and she's still sick. She cannot even lift her hand.
Wow.
So that's what happens to her. She has 11 kids to feed.
Wow.
And she was the breadwinner.
11 kids?
Yeah. So what happens to her?
Wow. So let's talk about the most common gender-based violence in the Gambia.
Right.
Yeah.
For us, we've seen lots of cases, but domestic violence has been high as far as the helpline is concerned, and the work that the Bajans are doing. We get lots of domestic violence cases or marital cases whereby the mother is divorced and sent out of the home with 4 or 5 kids to fend for themselves. Wow. So that is more like economic violence. So that person maybe got married when she was 16, 17, was not working. And now you send her out with her kids. What happens to her?
Right.
So, you know, it's again the cycle of poverty for that woman and her kids. They don't get to go to school. Even feeding them becomes a problem. So that is one biggest challenge. And we've seen lots of cases of that. We have had lots of rape cases, but the rape, we cannot say is rape until the court says it's rape.
Okay.
So we, you know, because even if someone reports rape to us, we don't register it as rape until they go through the legal
processes.
But however, most people drop out. They don't go through the process because the process is very cumbersome.
Right.
You go to the police station, you get questioned.
Yeah.
You know, so many times. And then you get interviewed maybe in an open area. They make you feel like it's your fault.
Right.
What happened? And it's like there's no privacy. Everyone gets to hear your case. You go back and forth again. Sometimes it can take up to 2 years before it gets to court.
So the duration of the whole process back and forth, going and coming, do you think that's an advantage to that individual, maybe the individual that is allegedly raped or something? Do you think there cannot be a process whereby the process can be fastened in such a way that results can be driven quickly so that these victims will not withdraw?
We are in talk with that, and I think I've seen online that most CSOs are working with targeting stakeholders like the Ministry of Health, the health sector, the health facilities rather, to make sure that, you know, the evidence is safeguarded. We are also working with the police. In fact, we had a meeting yesterday whereby we discussed some of these challenges, which they are aware of. I have to commend the police as well. They have made huge efforts, because if you look at 5 years down the line, we were like really struggling. So it might look small. There are still so many challenges,
Right.
but we have made so many strides. But we still need to improve on the reporting mechanisms and the referral.
Right. I was about to ask you that, like the privacy. Do you
Yes.
do you intend to have talks with them so that when these cases come, they are not interviewed or interrogated in the open,
Yes.
but provide a safe space for them?
Actually, if you notice, the police have new stations. Some of the new stations actually have a private interview room.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually that was actually because of gender-based violence.
Right.
Yeah, they have private interview rooms, and so most of the officers have been trained. But as you go further in country, you know, the resources are not there. Most of the stations are just post.
Right.
Some of them might not have even adequate offices for themselves.
Right.
So it's just a small unit.
So how do we determine, okay, if this individual is raped? Okay, now in the Gambia, we all know we don't have enough forensic, you know, evidence gathering materials. I mean, DNA, before we cannot even acquire DNA from a fingerprint, talk less of a rape kit. At some point, how do we determine, or what do we do? Dafla rape, kan mola rape, sa uncle mola rape, degala dafla rape. They go grab the uncle or the father or the brother. How do you determine this individual is raped?
I think there's a process. Like I said before, it's not as easy as you just made it sound. When someone reports rape, they will not just grab the uncle unless there's evidence. That doesn't happen. In fact, it's the victim who actually gets interrogated more than the perpetrator, unless they have evidence.
Right.
Before they arrest the person.
Right.
So it's not that easy.
Right.
I don't think there are cases of someone just said, kid of my rape, and they arrest them. No.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Otherwise, you'll be hearing men on social media.
It doesn't
Screaming of rape.
like that.
There should be evidence.
Right.
Yeah, all
For
right.
our, we don't mean to sideline you that much. So tell us your song. Tell us the message in your song.
Yeah, so this song is called Bulfale, like Bul Worry. You know, so it's a song, motivational song, I'll call it, giving credit to women, you know, who are in the farms, who are, you know, just trying to work to, you know, take care of their families.
Right.
Yes, and also highlighting the different forms of, you know, sexual and gender-based violence, that women are being raped, you know, going through FGM, and, you know, the physical abuse, emotionally, like, it's a whole lot of things.
All in one song.
All in one song, but that is the beauty of music, because you can say whatever you want to say, but just in 3 minutes, and everything will make sense, you know. So that's the beauty of music. Yeah.
We want to hear a piece of it.
Okay. So it goes like this. Stay strong, make them wonder. Bul nangu kudosako, bul slumber. We walk through storm, we walk through thunder. We keep winning, we are mothers worrying your suffer. Girls with dreams, women with vision. Yeah, we speaking up, we don't need no permission. Tahawujigen, bul nangu any division. It's about time you respect so new decision. Bul nangu kula wahna you ain't good enough. Bul nangu kula nah, my sister bul dof dega nane waru ñoo am baat kër baye ki jëkkër li nga gom bu ko baye nañ ko jàpp mu dëgër, something like that.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And I love it. It comes in a rap form. I enjoy rap music so much. It's nice. And these lyrics, and I'm sure when you were writing it, it meant so much to you. Tell us, when you were writing it, what were you looking out for? What was the take home for you in this song?
Well, you know, when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence, you know, it all has where it starts from. I'll just take it to, you know, our home levels, because sometimes you grow up in a family and, you know, you might see how, you know, parents treat
girls and
exactly how they treat them, and, you know, how a husband treats a wife. So for me, growing up, I have seen that in, you know, where I live and different places. So, you know what, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll just have to, when it comes to rap, the beauty is that, you know, it came for you to talk about the struggles that people are facing. Yes, so that's the beauty of it. So I had to, you know, just be real with myself and write about things that are really happening and, you know, affecting us as a society.
Yeah, so we are running out of time. So Aisha, finally, what steps should Gambia take beyond the 16 days of activism, you know, to help fight gender-based violence? Okay, we should not just focus on the 16 days of activism, but we should focus beyond that as well. So,
yeah, I think I just have to say, you know, our amazing song. It resonates with what we do. That is why I think I just love her.
Right.
She just knows how to put everything that we are doing into like a 3-minute short advocacy material. This is exactly what women are going through. Each bit of the song has something that people are going through, and that is why our work, because like she said, I think we all truly have experienced one form of gender-based violence or another as a woman in this country, because you grow up in a home, we all know the segregation between the men and women. And it goes up all the way until you're a teenager, from your puberty to when you get married. It doesn't stop. We face all sorts of issues and face all sorts of challenges because you're a woman. You know, it's different from a man. So that is why at Paradise Foundation, we have this Tahawu Jigen project. We focus on empowering women. So beyond the 16 days activism, we've been engaged in advocacies, empowering women through capacity building, through referral, holding their hands and going with them to the police station, going to the health facility to make sure they're checked. And not only rape, but domestic violence, psychosocial support. Some women suffer emotional support, need emotional support rather, because they suffer emotional violence at home. Haste bi, saga bi, ak tongo bi si biir kër gi yëpp is sort of violence.
It's a problem. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you.
By the way, we have an Ask Bajan tomorrow, Friday, and on QTV at 7 o'clock. And that's
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Okay.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
And actually dive into the community aspect.
Nice.
Don't miss out on that.
So, Jacqueline, we've exhausted the time.
Yeah, I wish we had enough time to talk
about it. Yeah, but I think we can still invite you another day.
Yeah.
You know, it's still the 16 days.
Yeah.
So we will contact you to give you a day.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Jacqueline.
Right, thank you very much, Awa, and I hope to listen. Where can I listen to the song?
Well, it's on YouTube, it's on AudioMac as well.
All right. I use those platforms, so I definitely want to listen to the
so
song.
viewers, this is all we have until we come again next week. It's Thursday.
Wow, okay. We don't have the tools on Friday.
We'll be here again on Monday, inshallah. Until we come again, bye-bye.